Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Meg. I do fashion lifestyle videos every single week, so if you do like that type of content, go and check out my previous videos and follow me on my Instagram. It means so much to me, and don't forget to click that subscribe button and click the bell to be notified every single time I post if you do enjoy this video. But let's get straight into it. So today, as you can tell by the title, I'm going to be giving you some tips on how to land collabs as either a small content creator, a small influencer, whatever you want to call it. This video is for anyone who has a small following on Instagram and YouTube. These are just some tips I put together from my personal experience, so they may not work for everyone. I have been getting a lot of DMs on how I get collabs, especially on my Instagram, because that's where most of them take place. And I did count them up. I've had 19 in the past 2 to 3 months, which is crazy, going from 0 collabs before September, I think, to them all literally flooding in from me doing these things. So hopefully some of these tips will help you achieve the same success, because doing collabs is so fun, especially when it's with brands that you really support. So tip number 1 is to make yourself contactable to brands. So this is trying to make the process for them reaching out to you as easy as possible. If you imagine, there's probably so many people that are perfect fits for brands. So if they see you but they're struggling to find your email or like links to your Instagram or whatever, they're not really going to waste time trying to search for that. They're just going to move on to the next person. So make sure that, especially in your popular videos, like I do it in all my YouTube video descriptions and also in my Instagram bio, just to make it a lot easier, because a lot of collaboration discussions do take place on email rather than in DMs, and obviously YouTube you don't really message on there, so make sure that you have that available, because it's just so much easier for the brand to get in touch if they want to. Whilst about 90% of my collabs have happened over emails, there are smaller accounts, especially on Instagram, that won't have a kind of monitored email, so you can DM them, but I'd say unless they have less than, like, I don't know, 15-20k, still email them first, and then obviously if they don't reply, do DM. But it tends to be the really small brands that do monitor their DMs and go through them very frequently. So I would say definitely first port of call is email. A really good way to get brands to notice you, which is how I got my first ever collab, was to actually pose with their item and tag them. A lot of brands will have their own kind of personalized hashtags. So I know like Topshop have Topshop style and ASOS style, I don't know if that's one, but a lot of different brands have personalized ones, and then every so often they will go through this hashtag, see if there's anyone they want to scout, put on their page, and that's where it starts to blossom. So definitely with every item you get that's new, tag the brand, use hashtags relating to the brand, because you never know, they may come across you. It's so great for your own exposure, and you never know who's going to come across it. It does increase the likelihood of them coming across your posts. Then from that first collab, they offered to send me more of their items for me to get more pictures with, and it just got more and more. So it's definitely a way to get yourself and your account out there. So some of my collabs I have sourced myself, so that hasn't been from the brand approaching me. I have approached the brands that I like and that I kind of believe in their values, their mission, and I love their clothing or their jewelry or whatever it is. But make sure that if you do pitch to a brand, you actually tell them the benefit for them, because obviously if you're going to go to a brand and ask them for freebies, they're not just going to be like, oh my god, yeah, sure, here you go. Like, you need to make sure that you properly sell yourself and the benefits that the brand will get from collabing with you. Otherwise, it just seems a bit rude and kind of pointless asking them to give you free stuff. If you do decide to reach out to brands, don't always expect a response. I'd say, like, if I reached out to 40, I probably heard back from about 5. So it's not really something you can rely on for them to constantly get back to you. These brands don't have all the time in the world, and it's not their priority to get back to people that reach out to them. But obviously, if you do end up being the perfect fit and it happens to be a day where they can get through their emails, you may get a response, or you may even get someone saying, sorry, we're not collabing right now, which is obviously better than nothing. But sometimes you can also follow up brands if they don't reply to you. So a couple of recent collabs that I've landed, I literally emailed them months ago, didn't hear anything, and I really wanted to collab with these brands, so I reached out again last week. 1 day later they replied to me. So sometimes they just need that prompt, because if you imagine how full their email boxes are, sometimes all they need is a reminder, because your email can literally just get drowned. So there's no harm in messaging again, but obviously don't make it too persistent where it's kind of pushy. Just try a second time, and if you don't get a response, then just leave it. I cannot stress enough the importance of first impressions and building relationships. Luckily, I feel like this is something I naturally do quite well, because I'm quite a friendly person, welcoming person. The way that I come across in text and like on emails and stuff is really enthusiastic, because I genuinely am. That's just what I'm like, very bubbly. As a result, when brands can see your personality and see how much you value their collab, sometimes they may want to extend it and ask you to do further things. I think I've had 4 brands now that have wanted to continue working with me. One of those ended up being a paid job, which was actually really good pay, which I never ever expected. So sometimes when you start off with a collab, it might start off as gifted and then become paid if they realise your value, or if you've got them sales or whatever. A lot of them can be blossoming depending on budgets and stuff like that. Some brands will like to stick with the same people again and again. Like I did a lot of paid ads for one brand, and I feel like they always come back to me every time they have promotional stuff, which is amazing, and we've got that relationship there. Whereas other brands, they want to have a lot of different influencers just doing one-off campaigns, so you can't really expect any more from that. But I think go into things quite open-minded and willing to carry on if the opportunity does arise, and just make sure that you're constantly being polite to the brand. Even if they've annoyed you a little bit, just remain professional, because it is business at the end of the day, and you never know where you might end up. Kind of linking to this idea of taking a picture with the brand. Also, if you've maybe done a video on the brand, that can also work in your favour. So a brand that I reached out to, one of my favourite collabs so far, I'd already done a video on their stuff, so I sent that along with my pitch, and I think that kind of boosted up me against other people they were considering, because it's like, oh, she loves our brand, she's proved it through this video, it's got good views, etc. And then as a result, they were like, oh, maybe let's give her a chance. So if you have any kind of YouTube videos that you've done on a brand that maybe isn't so popular, so like that aren't as many videos, it's not like a Zara haul that people do every single day, you can kind of stand out in that way, and they can also get a sense of your personality if they wanted to make any video content with you or anything like that. I think it's another good way to demonstrate your passion through the brand, because you're verbally talking about the brand. On the topic of paid collabs though, if you are someone who is reaching out to brands, I wouldn't necessarily ask initially to do paid work, just because when you're a smaller account, you have still got an audience that is impressionable, but I feel like a lot of the times when brands have influencer budgets, it is for bigger influencers. So if they are willing to pay you, that will normally be said quite early. And like with people that have approached me, they've asked what my rate is, and rate basically refers to how much you charge them to create the content. But majority of the time I go for gifted if I am pitching, because I feel like you kind of have to develop that relationship first before it blossoms into a paid one. Or if a brand comes to you specifically saying what is your rate, or we can offer a paid collab, then you can accept it. But I wouldn't propose it necessarily, because it can put brands off. Obviously this is really subjective, and if you guys want me to do another video on how to know your rate and stuff like that, I can do so, because I remember when I was first asked for my rate and I was like, what is a rate? I literally had no idea what to charge. I was googling, I couldn't find anything, so I had to guess. So I think judging by the response from the brand, I now kind of have an idea of what to charge people. But again, every brand is different, every brand has a different budget, so you kind of got to go off the price of their items and thinking, okay, if they pay me this much to do this and I get them 2 sales, is that covered? That's kind of how I think about it. And obviously if the brand's new, they're following all that to take into account. But at the end of the day, if you do propose your rate and it's too high, they will tell you. So I think don't go in low, go in at what you think your value is, and think about how long it takes you to edit or whatever. Go in with that, and then if you need to negotiate, that's fine, but definitely start off with gifted. This isn't so much collabing, but it's still a way of working with a brand. There are apps like Brand Ambassador, which I am actually part of, and that you can sign up to, and you basically apply to the brand, and depending on your current following, they will accept or reject you. Every brand I think has different requirements of following, so I think the one that I'm on, I'm only doing it with one brand. I think that was 1,000 on Instagram, and you just kind of connect all your social followings, and they do loads of missions which are really good, and some of them are very simple and they pay good money. So you might repost something, or you might share a story. They sometimes give out freebies that are limited, and you have to quickly get there and then take a picture with the freebie, upload it, tag them. And also you get an opportunity to generate your own discount code, so an affiliate link, whoever buys through that, then you'll get commission. And it's nice because I feel like when I've made sales, I feel like I'm giving back to a brand that's given me so many opportunities, because this is the brand that I've been blossoming my relationship with, and it's just a good way to show the brand as well that you are valuable to them, because you are generating sales. As a result, they're more likely to ask to work with you in the future. This is a really important point that I feel like a lot of people don't really think about, because they're so concerned with getting free items. Don't accept every single collab that you're offered. Like, some of them I have turned down, probably about 4 now, because they just do not fit the vibe of my page, or like they've asked me to create content on something I don't believe in, and I kind of feel like if my heart's not in it, I don't want to be disingenuous to my audience, and I feel like they'd sense it too. They might be like, why is she promoting that? That has nothing to do with her interest. I have an Instagram account, like I said at the start, Styled by Meg, which is here. Obviously it looks very fashiony, jewelry, a little bit of skincare starting to seep into there now, because that is something I'm interested in. But if, say, someone reached out to me trying to sell, I don't know, I actually can't think of an example off the top of my head, but just something that's not related to my audience at all, and no one would be interested in seeing that in a completely different niche, then I wouldn't. But I feel like a lot of the time with fashion, you do get a lot of brands that are more general, but people do find interest. So like, I don't know, water bottles, accessories, kind of everyday things that people require, not just fashion. So like, I've collabed with a CBD brand before, and that was really good because a lot of people that follow me feel the anxiety that I have in lockdown, so they can still relate to it. So I think as long as you can kind of see the value in it for you and your audience, it's fine. But don't just accept every single thing, because sometimes it might seem a bit spammy if you're constantly posting collabs. People might start visiting your page or your channel less because they're just like, I'm not interested in this, and you want to keep an engaged audience that know that you're being genuine about what you're talking about. But yes, that is all of my tips on how to land a collab, either gifted or paid. Hopefully that's helped you out and made you feel like you will get somewhere with collabs, because I was at the point a few months ago when I was convinced I was literally not going to get any collabs unless I hit like 20k, and I'm not even at 2k on Instagram or on YouTube, and I've landed so many already. And I don't always think it's about how big your audience is, it's about how well you can sell yourself, how well you can get yourself out there, how engaged your audience is, and so many other factors. So don't feel like just because you don't have a Molly May following, which I actually used to put in my pictures, don't feel like you can't not get collabs because of that. It's not just about that. Micro-influencing is such a big thing at the moment, and I feel like brands collabing specifically with micro-influencers does have its benefits if you've got a lower budget, because obviously Molly May is going to be charging thousands per post. They may not be able to afford that. And on top of that, I also feel like sometimes micro-influencers can come across a little bit more genuine, just because you know they aren't being paid thousands to say something. They've just been gifted something and they probably genuinely love it, if that makes sense. So yes, I really hope you enjoyed the video, and if you are subscribed, which you should be, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.